The floor is rotted. The toilet is blue. Please replace it so I can poo-poo. Turn off the water. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Don't turn it too tight.
Sucky, sucky, long time.
I'm going to be replacing this supply line. It's got a pretty bad kink in it right there. And these things are recommended to be replaced every 5 years. They do have a rubber tube inside of that steel braiding that you see, and it does break down over time. Anyways, we'll get that supply line off. Now we're going to get the toilet unbolted from the floor. And you'll see here that the bolt is actually turning with the nut. That's not good. It happens sometimes. I'm able to get a grip on the bolt with these needle nose and then bust off that nut. Look at this closet flange. This is probably one of the worst ones I've ever seen. Right there, that's where his bolt is supposed to be that actually holds the toilet tight to the floor. I'm going to smack that all loose with my hammer, and then we'll come through with the 5-in-1 tool, and we'll just get all these pieces out of here like that. Yeah, this thing is crustier than a tube sock under your bed. The floor is delaminated. It's completely soaked full of nastiness, smelled absolutely wonderful, and tasted even better. A couple of investigative cuts to see where my floor joists are. Line my scrap plywood up with the front of it, mark the center of my drain, mark the cut I need to make for the back. Cut the circle out with a jigsaw. Then you got to stick your wood in the glory hole, and we're going to put the piece down. Notice how I mark the front, and then I trace it with the Sharpie. Now I can cut out the floor, put some 2x4s laid on their side, screwed through the good subfloor, toenailed screws in the side. Then I replaced the vinyl floor, easy peasy. Now, if I was a real plumber, I would have cut out that sanitary tee and glued on a new one and a brand new PVC flange, or I would have used a socket saver and put in a new PVC flange, but I'm just a Home Depot handyman hack, so here we are. That thing I just showed you, it's not going to work. It was sitting up off the floor too high. So here's what I did. I took a stainless steel closet flange, I cut it in half, I put it underneath the PVC lip to act as a spacer, and then I've got this thin stainless steel closet flange clamshell type ring. And then I take my carbide drill bit, slowly drill through that stainless steel, through the spacer underneath. I get 6 coated rust-proof screws in there, and we are super tight. Cinch the plastic down on the flange bolts, slap that in there. We want these at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, just like that. And then I'm using a reinforced wax wing. It's got that little plastic horn in there. As you drop this toilet down onto these bolts, make sure you line up before you compress the wax. That way you don't compromise your seal. And per the instructions, the plastic cap goes on first. Washer says this side up. Make sure that's facing up. Metal washer. That little plastic washer is what actually allows the cap to snap on and stay snapped on. Make sure these are centered as you're tightening them. I like to go from the left side to the right side, back and forth a little bit at a time until I feel that it is completely tight. There's your wiggle test. No movement at all. Put the gasket on the tank and then drop the tank into position. I don't really have any good tips here for you. You're kind of just shooting in the dark, feeling around and all clumsy like to get that washer. And oh, there it is. Tighten my tank, Daddy. I like to make sure that porcelain is touching that porcelain there on this specific model of toilet. Again, left and right a little bit at a time until you feel it's tight enough. And then we put the new supply line on, take the stupid sticker off of that as well. And then we're going to check for leaks after we turn the water on. If you want to adjust your tank water level height, it's this little guy right here. There's the repair from underneath. I did have some plastic that was covering it, so I didn't send debris all over the basement. Now, before I put this bolt cap on, and I did not have to trim, by the way, I put a little plumber's putty on there, and hopefully that'll keep it protected from rust and corrosion. And then a little bit of advanced silicone made by GE. We got that at the big box orange store. Plumbing code says you have to caulk your toilet to the floor. I caulked the front, sides, and not the back. I leave it open in the back about 4 inches. See how big and fat and sloppy that caulk bead is? It doesn't matter because I'm going to spray it with isopropyl alcohol like this. And then when I go to finger it, man, it just comes out so smooth. Look at that. Keeps it from smearing all over the place. Gives you a nice tight little bead. Look at that. You can barely even tell that I shoved my caulk in there. And, of course, we'll take off this stupid little blue sticker, because who cares? You're ugly, and we're going to wipe that off. It's a Glacier Bay toilet. I didn't pick it out. It was already here when I showed up. All right, we got these little rubber feet that go on the toilet seat connectors. There it is. Center it before putting the bolts in to tighten. Per the instructions here, I got a little plastic washer and then a little plastic nut, and there we go. And it's all done, and we are on to the next house!